Hello, hello, hello. Today is December 14th, 2025. It is Sunday at 11:10 a.m. It is day 14, day 14 of 365 of T is for Temidayo. Let's get started. So today we are going to do our tea gel. Where are we going to do it? Let's do it on the lower abdomen, which I can show you guys. So that is SFW. So here we are. Do it on the lower abs. Um, and we're gonna do it here today, strictly to encourage a little bit of bottom growth. That's it. All done. We'll let that dry while we check in. So today, I think we're actually talking about part 3 of the summer of 2013, aka the summer I gave up religion. Woo! We made it. So, a small recap, and I'll link the videos for both of those right there. I decided to give up religion in the summer of 2013. I decided to stop believing in God as an experiment to see what would happen, who I would be, and what I could become if I let myself be free of guilt, obligation, and shame that came from me being a practicing Muslim up until that point. So, as I said, summer of 2013, I said, let's leave it all out of the window. Let's take it all out and let's see what happens. Let's see who I will be. Spent that summer smoking, drinking, kissing non-boys for the first time, and also ridding myself of any shame, guilt, obligation, or duty that would have come with doing or not doing any of the rituals that I was supposed to be doing based on the religion. That included fasting, praying 5 times a day, etc., etc. I didn't eat pork, because I just was like, that's a boundary I don't feel like I will want to cross. And that was a choice that I made consciously to be like, I know technically because I'm not practicing, I can eat pork if I decide to, but I figured, why would I have another meat? Especially because I've been thinking about, you know, being a vegetarian, substituting meat, substituting like animal protein as much as I could, just for the environmental impact, for also the impact on the body, etc., etc. So I was like, I don't need another one. And that was a conscious choice that I made. And then from the rest of that summer, I think I started to reflect probably around the time that the show that I was doing at the same time was ending. I was doing The Wiz, at a local summer dinner theater with a local community college. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful summer. I got to hang out with one of my best friends to this day, Janae. I got to also do a show called Greta, which is my first kind of fully staged puppet show of my career, with one of my best friends, Ollie, who is the puppet maker, puppet master, and also the one half of the storytelling team with Anjana Sominathan. It was amazing. It was an amazing summer. I learned a lot about myself. I felt so much freer for the first time. I started having crushes for the first time on non-men. And I'm saying non-men specifically because even though we were all kind of identifying in the she, her umbrella at the time, most of us have decided to depart from that umbrella in one way or another. And so I want to honor that past, in the present, and in the future. So yeah, I was dating, I was not dating, but it was like giving, vibing, with a bunch of non-men, that summer, and it was amazing. And then I walked away from that summer being like, okay, there are 3 things that are probably true right now. One, I do believe in some sort of higher power, some sort of higher consciousness, some sort of higher expression of selfhood. Call that God, call that the universe, call that spirit, whatever you call it. I do think that there's more going on here than I can see with my eyes. So I'll keep that. Two, I don't think Islam is for me anymore. It was a big decision to have made because I recognized the religion had brought me so much peace. The religion had brought me so much understanding of the world around me. And while I continue to say that it is the first religion that taught me or that invited me into the language of the spirits, I recognize that it was not a path that I wanted to continue on. And so I officially let Islam go. The third thing that happened that summer is that I knew for the first time, for real, for sure, that I was a queer person that wanted to continue to be a queer person. You know, there's this big myth that, like, oh, you go to college, you get a little gay, you experiment, especially if you're under the she, her umbrella at the time, and then you eventually kind of leave that part of your life behind. You move on, you may get married, you may end up dating men, cis men, straight men for the rest of your life. And that's just kind of your story, is that like that was a phase that happened in college. And I knew because I was kind of crash coursing that phase for myself the summer of 2013, that even though it was like fast and loose, I wanted to continue on it. I wanted to continue exploring it. I wanted to continue cultivating that part of myself. And again, it was not based on obligation, it was not based on duty, it was not based on fear, and it was not based on shame. It was based on curiosity, it was based on discovery, it was based on play, it was based on what could happen if I let myself fill in the blank. And so I decided, okay, cool. I'm going to invite that part of myself in for the rest of forever, I guess, you know. I'm not gonna limit myself to who I can date, who I can be attracted to, who I would pursue, who I would let pursue me based on any kind of dogma that I picked up in the Abrahamic faith that is Islam. And again, I say Abrahamic faith to include Islam, Judaism, and Christianity because to me, they're all just like three prongs of the same fork. Yeah, I mean, if you kind of study the text, read those books, it's like, yes, Judaism came first, and then Christianity, and then Islam. And so you see, obviously, parts of Christianity reflected in Islam, just the same way as you see parts of Judaism reflected in Christianity and reflected in Islam. They're all kind of three prongs of the same fork. And so for me, I was like, cool. I'm not going to adhere to any of those prongs specifically. I'm not going to call myself a practicing Muslim. What I call myself now is somewhere between culturally Muslim and historically Muslim. To say, yes, there is a part of me that still kind of finds identity there. I was there for, you know, like at that point, I was like 20 something years, maybe 20 years. Yeah. Either way, I was there for a long time. I was there for all of my childhood and adolescence and coming into my adulthood. So it's not like I can just like forget the 20 years of my life that I spent there. So yeah, I'm like, okay, it exists, but it is not who I am. It is not the only way that I relate to the world. It's not even the primary way or the secondary or the tertiary way that I relate to the world. It's just kind of in the mix as I'm discovering parts of myself still. Because I'm only, you know, at that point I was only like 19, 20 years old. There's still so much of myself to discover, and to kind of have closed myself off so soon to all that could be possible for me was like such a disservice to the human experience. And I'm so excited to be in the human experience. So that is all. That wraps up part 3 of 2013, aka the summer I gave up God, the summer I gave up religion, the summer I discovered the queerest parts of myself at the time and let myself have them. If you watched all 3 of these parts, congratulations, you now get so much of that part of myself. And if you didn't, you can absolutely watch them here. You can also watch the beginning of this entire 14-day journey at this point. Oh my God, 14 days. We're at 2 weeks. We're at 2 weeks. Ah! We're at 2 weeks, friends. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for day 15. Bye. Love you. Bye.